What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I am going to show you something that you are not going to believe. Now, I talk a lot about Social Security, I talk about retirement, and I talk about some of the fears that I have when it comes to AI and how more and more we're seeing companies have robots do jobs that people would normally do. And so in this video, I'm going to show you a clip, and then we're going to talk about this and we're going to break it down. And I'm going to explain to you why this is important for people who are currently receiving Social Security and people who will receive Social Security in the very near future. Because as I stated before, if you are receiving Social Security, you are receiving that because of the payroll tax. The payroll tax is what is paying off benefits that people are currently receiving. If you have robots working and doing jobs, robots aren't paying into a payroll tax, and the company is not matching that payroll tax. And so the Social Security Administration is not getting that 12.4% that they would be getting if you had an employee working and you had that matched by a company. So I'm going to explain all of this in this video. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. And just a reminder, thank you for your support. And if you'd like to follow me on Twitter and Threads, you can at the TEC Show Live. Okay, so let's get right into this. I'm going to show you a clip. This is a 5-second clip. I just want you to look at this and just tell me what you think is strange about this. Here we go. Okay, so what didn't you see in that little video clip? You didn't see anyone working this little store. And so let me show you what is going on here. So I was at the airport. I was on my way home from Hawaii. So I was on my way back to Los Angeles, and I saw this little store, and I'm thinking, that's pretty interesting. I mean, I guess it's like a vending machine, but it's a little bit different because you can walk up and grab your item. So let me show you exactly what I'm talking about here. So if you look down at the bottom here, you see it says touchless self-checkout. And so what you do is you select your items. So you select your items right here, and then you put your items on like a tray, and I'll show you the tray. So you put your items on the tray, and then you just pay for your items, and you're all set, okay? So when we look over here, so first you would get your items either here or you get your items here. And what I find interesting, when it comes to vending machines, I don't know about you, but I'm okay with getting soft drinks at a vending machine, getting water, things like that. But I would never buy like sandwiches or anything like that from a vending machine because I just think, it's probably not fresh. But this is a walk-up refrigerator. And so it looks a little bit different. You would go, like usually if I go to the airport and I know I'm not going to have a meal on my flight, then I would be looking to buy something. A sandwich is probably the best thing to buy. That way I can eat it later when I'm on the plane, especially if it's a long flight. Now, you see they have the sandwiches here. They also have some other sandwiches here. They have something up here. I don't know exactly what that is, but they have something else up there. And so I think that is the draw here because it's fresh, right? They have it even up here, okay? Fresh attractions. So and so then you can also buy other things here. You can buy chips and things like that, snack food and all that. However, let's look at this whole setup here, because if you look at this side here, you see exactly what you're supposed to do. You get your items and you just place your items on this tray, and it scans the items once you've placed them on the tray, and then you go ahead and pay, and then you get your receipt, and you're done. And so you don't have to have a person working this machine, this store. And so as I'm looking at this store, I started to think, how many people does it take to run this store? And I would say at the most one person, maybe two, but I would say probably just one person to run the store. And they might have to come maybe once or twice per day just to refill the fridge and the snacks if things are gone, right? So they just want to keep track of everything and make sure that the items are fully stocked so they can sell more. So you might have one person actually doing that, and that same person can be running 10 10 different machines at one time. Okay, now in this situation, it's at Kauai, it's at the airport. There's only one major airport, so they might have a few of these little kiosks throughout the airport. We don't know, but I'm just saying you only really need one person to do this. So if you didn't have this self-checkout, how many people do you think it would take to run this little store? I would say, let's say you had 2 people that work full-time. Okay, because this is a 24-hour operation. As long as the airport is open, this is in operation. So let's say it was full-time. So you had two employees working full-time, and then maybe a couple more employees working part-time. So in total, you have 4 people that are working for this store, right? So those 4 people, they're all paying into the payroll tax. They're all paying 6.2%, all of them. And because they're paying that 6.2%, that 6.2% is what's going to Social Security. On top of the 6.2% that the employees are paying, the employer is also matching that 6.2%. Okay, so for a total of 12.4%. So that 12.4% from that one person working is going to the Social Security Administration. If you have 4 people working, it's the same thing. So you can see here, this is a situation where you have money going to the Social Security Administration. However, if we're just looking at one person working this store, now you have the 12.4% that's going to Social Security, but that's it. You don't have 4 people, 12.4% coming from 4 people. You only have it coming from one person. Okay, so looking at this situation, it's bad for people who are currently receiving Social Security, because when you have kiosks like this, you have less money going to the Social Security Administration, less taxes being paid. Now, let's multiply this. I'm just talking about Kauai. They might have, I only saw one at the airport, but I didn't walk through the whole airport. But let's just say they only have one at this airport. But you have hundreds of airports all over the U.S. Let's say you have, and we'll just say they have one at every airport, and let's just say we have 100 airports. And so now, instead of the 4 employees that would work at this one kiosk, now you have it times 100. So now you have 400 people that they don't need. They don't need to have those 400 people working. And so that's a lot of revenue that would be going to the Social Security Administration, no longer going to the Social Security Administration, because you no longer need it, because you have, in a sense, robots doing the job. Okay, this thing works itself. And so that is where we are right now. And I see this happening more and more often. You go into a store now, a grocery store, you go into Target, Walmart, Home Depot, all these different places. What do you see? You see self-checkout. And the self-checkout, usually you have like 8 to 10 self-checkouts, and then you have maybe a couple of people working at the cash register where you can actually go to the cash register, and the line is always long. So most people are saying, you know what, I'm just going to go to self-checkout. I don't have that many items. But what they're doing is they're getting rid of their employees. Their employees, they no longer need them. You need one person to work the self-checkout, and you need a couple more people to work at the cash registers where you can actually walk up and talk to someone. But that's all you need. And so in the checkout area of the store, you only really have 3 people working. You might have someone up the front, maybe a supervisor that's working in the front, and that's it. Whereas in the past, you needed maybe 10 people working up front because they had to run all the different cash registers. Now you don't need that. And so this is not a good thing. This is not good for the state of Social Security. And we're now talking about Social Security reform. We're talking about the trust fund being depleted in 10 years. We're talking a lot about this stuff. And guess what? We have less revenue that's coming in, and that's only going to get worse. In 10 years from now, we probably won't have anyone working at the front. You might have maybe one person working at the front, and then everything else is going to be self-checkout. And so it's only going to get worse from here. And why do companies want to replace people with robots? Robots don't call in sick. Robots don't need health care. Robots, you don't need to pay into the payroll tax. Like I was saying, you don't have to match it. So they don't have to pay an extra 6.2%, as well as the individual. You don't have an employee paying 6.2%. And so that's why companies are looking at robots and saying, this is the way to go. We can upfront spend, and you don't have to pay a salary to a robot. You buy the product, maybe it costs $30,000, however how much it costs, but it's that one-time fee. You might have some upkeep and things like that, but for the most part, once you buy it, you have it, and you can just run it for 5-10 years, and you don't really have to worry about any of those other things that we were talking about when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to calling in sick, and they work 24 hours a day. This machine will work 24 hours a day. It just needs to be replenished every so often, but that's it. And so I want to know what you guys think about this, so let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.